You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel. And you know what's driving me crazy? What's driving me crazy is race in America and how it is making things ridiculous and things unfair. And included in those is the Derek Chauvin trial, in which jury proceedings continued today. Now, we have told you on this show why we think he will never get a fair trial. It's not just the protesters outside that are very menacing and threatening to any potential juror. It's the kinds of people that are being kicked off the jury. It's the kind of evidence that you need to see because you haven't seen it on the mainstream TV shows, news shows, in any of the mainstream media outlets. So let's get to it because we have some of that information. Before we do, though, I want to point out that the trial was delayed, as we pointed out, I believe on Monday or Tuesday. It was delayed. And the reason it was delayed was because of the third degree murder charge that was thrown out by the current judge that is overseeing the trial. Now, this is the same judge that now today, this morning, reinstated that charge. This was appealed to the Court of Appeals where it was waiting, and he reversed himself. Why? I don't know, but I can tell you this. It is more likely, now that they have both second degree involuntary manslaughter on their second degree murder, and they also have third degree murder, that a jury will find him guilty of something. If he's guilty, so be it. If the evidence shows that, so be it. But I don't believe the evidence shows that. As we have said on this show, nobody supports putting a person's knee on somebody else's neck unless it's a life and death situation and it's either your neck or his. And this wasn't that case. However, this was taught as a method for subduing a suspect. This was taught to those police officers. So, if it was taught to them, that must mean that it is permissible. And as we have told you on this show, George Floyd was hopped up on all kinds of drugs, fentanyl, marijuana. He was believed to have had COVID. He, as we told you, from the autopsy, the very first one that was done by the medical examiner, he had at least one artery to his heart blocked 75%. He had a heavy heart. That's what a heavy heart is. So he had a lot of bad medical conditions. We told you that on the video there is, you didn't see the whole video. On the video there is evidence. He was in the car saying, "I can't breathe." He was standing outside saying, "I can't breathe." So this "I can't breathe" business was not just as a result of somebody's knee on his neck for almost 8 minutes, not 9 minutes, 7 minutes and 46 seconds. We also told you that defense attorneys are trying to get in evidence of pills that he took in the car, in the police car, with his DNA on them, some of which he also may have taken. They found 2 pills in the back seat, but he may have taken other pills. We don't know what those pills were or what they did. This is going to come out. Let's hope it will come out. If it doesn't come out, then this judge is totally unfair, and that will be appealed. So jury selection continues, and some of the things going on are ridiculous, and we will get to that. But first, let's look at that medical report that we told you about that I read to you from the other day. Here's more of it. So look at this. It says no life-threatening injuries identified. Doesn't that negate claiming that the knee caused him to die? Doesn't that negate that? Now look farther down on where it is highlighted. Positive for drugs. Look at that. Positive for drugs in his nose. This is a post-mortem nasal swab. All right. Now we have, oh, that was positive, by the way, I believe, for COVID from a nasal swab. I think that's what that is. I don't know for certain, But let's keep going on this page from the medical examiner's report. So look at this: blood, drug, and novel psychoactive substance screen. So he tested positively for fentanyl. And as we told you yesterday or the day before, 11 nanograms, 11 nanograms. The medical examiner himself said that this is more than 3 times what is a normal fatal overdose. So he has 367% times what would be a fatal overdose. He also had norfentanyl, which is another form of fentanyl, and he had 5.6 nanograms. So if you add that together, it's 16.6 nanograms. That is more than 500% of what a fatal overdose might be. Methamphetamine, 19 nanograms. All right, then he also had in the urine drug screen morphine. So this guy was on all kinds of stuff. And look at the bottom. The autopsy indicates no signs of asphyxiation. And this is what Derek Chauvin is alleged to have done, to have killed him via asphyxiation from his knee and his leg on George Floyd's neck. This negates that. But do you think that any juror, again, walking through the gaggle, the crowd, the mob of violent, shouting people, threatening people, do you think that person is going to look at this and say, well, you know what? This is an innocent man, and I'm going to vote to acquit him, or I'm going to hold out. If there are 11 jurors that want to convict him, I'm going to be the odd man out. I'm going to be the one. Do you think that any person is going to say that? Or are they going to look at this mob and say, do I really want to be the one? And then have my home destroyed, my family destroyed. We have to get aliases. We have to join the witness protection program, move across the country, or maybe that's not good enough. Maybe we'll have to move to Fiji or somewhere else to, who knows, to Iran. Maybe they'd be safe in Iran. We're going to have to move somewhere, Antarctica, Greenland, Iceland, where nobody can find us. Do you think a juror is going to say that? That's a brave, courageous juror. Are there going to be 12 of those or even one? I don't know, but I can tell you the way it's going, it looks like any of those people are being DQ'd. They're being disqualified by the prosecution. And I'll give you an example. Let's take a look at this tweet. All right, so this is from Jack. I believe his last name is pronounced Posabich. We used to be on One America News Network. He's a journalist, and he has been watching the case. And look what he tweeted. Prosecutors used their first peremptory strike on juror number 8, an Air Force veteran. Oh, the crime of serving in the Air Force. And grandfather, can't have that, who said, evil probably sounds like an evil white man, right? Who would judge the George Floyd case based on the facts. Oh, you can't judge on the facts. You have to judge based on the propaganda and the rioters in the streets and the people threatening you when you go through the gauntlet every day to court. They got rid of him. So for those of you watching who don't know what a peremptory strike is, the prosecution and the defense can strike witnesses for many reasons. Jurors for many reasons. The juror may say, the potential juror, I don't think I can be fair. My brother is in law enforcement and I support the police. Usually that person's going to be stricken. Or the person says, oh, I'm related to George Floyd. That person's going to be stricken. Or, oh, I had a relative that was killed by police and he was unarmed. That person can be stricken for cause, what is known as cause. That means you have a legitimate reason of bias. The juror probably won't be fair. Now, there are jurors who, they don't have that kind of reasoning, or they do and the judge does not agree. And so that juror does not get kicked off. So what they get is a peremptory challenge, which means you can kick off the juror for any reason or no reason at all. And you don't have to explain. Although you cannot use peremptory challenges based on things like race. You can't use it to kick every black person off the jury or every white person off the jury and so on. Although I've had similar things happen when I have tried criminal cases, and I've gotten all of my working class people kicked off the jury because the prosecution didn't want any working class people who would be fair and would identify with my client. So that's what a peremptory strike is. But they struck this guy. He looks like he's would be very fair. Those are the kinds of people you want on the jury. Somebody who is going to decide based on the facts. But apparently the prosecution doesn't care about the facts because the facts are what we just showed you, that autopsy. And the facts are his leg on that guy's neck, George Floyd's neck, Derek Chauvin's leg on his neck, his knee on his neck did not cause his death, not according to the very first autopsy, which is the one that should be the only one that counts. All right, when we get back, we'll talk more about what's going on with race in America. You will not believe this woman that is going to be our Assistant Attorney General. And also, I have a different take on the Myers-Leonard story. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your number one choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we have a number of people that Joe Biden has nominated. Some have been confirmed to various positions in the cabinet, various top positions. Others are assistants. They are all political appointees. Many of them are very much extremists and radicals who try to portray themselves as moderates. And one of them is Vanita Jackson. Vanita Jackson is trying to get a job at the Justice Department, and it looks like she will be there. But she is an extremist. She is a radical. She supports defunding the police. She's one of those people who supports the kind of violence we have seen across America for the last year. And we've seen, and the anti-police, the defund police city council people in Minneapolis, Stan, where the Derek Chauvin trial is going on, have seen. That's why all of them who supported defunding the police now want to spend $6.4 million to bring the police back. Crime has gone up all across America because of this. In the places where they've defunded the police, it's gone up significantly. Murders, robberies, the rate of rapes, all of this has gone up. And Venita Jackson is one of the causes of this because she supports defunding the police. I want you to take a look at U.S. Senator Tom Cotton's tweet about her. So, President Biden's nominee for Associate Attorney General, Vanita Gupta, urged state and local leaders to defund the police just 9 months ago. No matter how many times she denies it, and she has, by the way, been denying it, her record speaks for itself. And he has a letter where she has written this, and this is from June 16th of last year. This is, like you said, just 9 months ago. And she said that local leaders, she said it's also critical for state and local leaders to heed calls from Black Lives Matter and the Movement for Black Lives activists to decrease police budgets and the scope, role, and responsibility of police in our lives. Does that not sound like defunding the police to you? It sure does to me. This person is going to be atop the Justice Department. She is going to be one of Merrick Garland's top deputies. And this is what she wants. She not only wants money taken away from police, but she wants their scope and role and responsibilities diminished. We need more police now. We need them now more than ever as violence has gone up in America. This is outrageous that a person who is against justice, and real justice involves police enforcing the law, is going to be one of the top people in America overseeing the enforcement of the law. That is very, very scary. But she gets a pass because she's a minority. Look at her. She's a woman of color. And women of color get to do and say whatever they want. They get to lie about it. They get to be hypocrites. They get to endorse very radical, very harmful policies. They get away with it. It's very, very disturbing. That is the real privilege in America. That's the privilege. Not white privilege, that privilege. All right? So there's that. Now, speaking of privilege, you've probably heard this story that has been circulating since, I believe, yesterday or the day before about Myers Leonard, the NBA star who plays for the Miami Heat. He was playing a video game on Twitch, which, if you're not familiar with Twitch, Twitch is a website where people post videos. Originally, they started posting videos of themselves playing video games. It was for gamers. But now there are all kinds of videos and channels on Twitch. It's almost like YouTube. And they posted videos of Bob Ross, the painter, the late painter from PBS. They post all kinds of stuff on there. But it's primarily known as a gamer site. So he was playing a video game. He showed himself playing it. And he said an epithet about Jews when he was playing it. And it was in a negative light. And the epithet was kike. And I don't think I'm allowed to say the other word on this show, but it rhymes with witch. And it's a derogatory word for women that is the word for a female dog. So he said those two words together. As many of you watching know, or may know, I happen to be a Jewish American. I've been called the word kike many times in my life. And you know what? I don't let it bother me because my attitude is sticks and stones. Sticks and stones, you know the old saying. It's not going to harm me. Sticks and stones will, but these words are not going to harm me. In fact, I am empowered by them. I hijack them from the users, and I've used them to describe myself. Like, for example, this kike, which always stands for the national anthem. And this is what I want to tell you about Myers Leonard. I think he's getting a raw deal, and I'll tell you why. Yes, it is offensive, and I was initially offended when I heard that he used that word. Like I said, sticks and stones. However, that's all he said. I don't even think he claims he didn't know what the word meant. I don't know if he did or he didn't. I want to believe him. He does not have a history of this. And not only that, but he apologized immediately. I read his apology, and I believe his apology. I think it's heartfelt. I want to contrast him with somebody from the Philadelphia Eagles who got a much less raw deal, and that is Deshaun Jackson, who said something a lot worse this summer. And we're almost at the break, so when we come back, I'll go into more of why I think Myers Leonard is getting a harder deal on this than Deshaun Jackson. Yes, part of it is race, but there's something else to it, and I'll tell you what it is after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car! How will we? The car! Your offer has been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing. But how will we? The closing!
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about Myers Leonard, the NBA player who plays for the Miami Heat, who used an epithet that is an anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish term. And we'll show you the video. It's bleeped out, but we'll show you the video.
Go, baby.
Fucking cowards. It's not me, you fucking cow bitch. I just dropped that on my head. That didn't even go to fucking. Anyways.
All right. You heard that. I told you I'm a proud Jewish American. I don't like being called names. I don't like slurs against me or my religion. Nobody does. But still, I believe in forgiveness. And forgiveness is the Western American way, or it used to be. And I find it interesting that he cannot be forgiven, but Deshaun Jackson from the Philadelphia Eagles can be. I believe that his apology was genuine. Deshaun Jackson's was not. And let me remind you what Deshaun Jackson did. He's from the Philadelphia Eagles. And this summer, he tweeted a quote that has been widely and wrongly attributed to Hitler. He said it was from Hitler. First of all, you're quoting Hitler with approval. Anybody that does that is a negative, a huge zero in my book. Forgiveness is for those who apologize and who are truly sorry. He wasn't. He sent out a very anti-Semitic tweet against Jews, falsely attributed to Hitler, but obviously he approves of Hitler, who murdered 6 million Jews, 5 million others, people who were gay, people who were black, which Deshaun Jackson is, people who were, yes, there was a black man in Auschwitz, the son of an American. There were people who were disabled who were murdered, pregnant women. Yes, the Nazis believed in abortion. They were not pro-life by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not just talking about Jews. They believed in abortion. All right? So that's who, but Hitler was a vegetarian and he loved his dogs. So what a great guy. Yeah, that's the Deshaun Jackson attitude. So he quoted Hitler, and let me just read you what he happened to say. He said, because the white Jews knows that the Negroes are the real children of Israel, and to keep America secret, the Jews will blackmail America. They will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they were. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel. So Deshaun Jackson, by the way, he got this quote from his hero, Louis Farrakhan, a black supremacist who hates white people, hates Jews, hates Arabs, hates Asians, hates everybody that's not black, believes that he came from the mothership and that there's some mothership spaceship that's going to take all the black people to outer space, and the rest of us, I guess, are going to dwindle here and die. He's one of the chosen ones by the aliens. Guess he watched too many Close Encounters of the Third Kind and stuff like that. But this is Deshaun Jackson's hero. And when Deshaun Jackson was criticized, he doubled down repeatedly. Finally, the wimpy Jewish owners of the Philadelphia Eagles just said, oh, we've dealt with it. He's been disciplined. And that was it. We accept his fake apology. His apology was a very empty apology. But I'll tell you why he got the forgiveness. Because he's black, and these owners and the owner and general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles, both of them Jews, are wimps. They're afraid to be called racist. They are afraid to be cowed. Now, Ted Arison, the owner of the Miami Heat, the Arison family, they're Israelis. They are Jews. They moved to Florida. And they already fined, as did the NBA, Myers Leonard $50,000, even though he had a very heartfelt apology. Deshaun Jackson got none of that. Deshaun Jackson did not lose sponsors. Myers Leonard has lost sponsors already. There is talk Myers Leonard is going to be kicked out of the NBA. Deshaun Jackson was not kicked out of the NFL. The NFL didn't fine him. Nobody fined him. Nothing happened to him. So what is the difference? It's not that one plays in the NBA and the other plays in the Philadelphia Eagles in football or basketball. That is a distinction without a difference. But I'll tell you what is the difference. Deshaun Jackson is black. And this is black privilege. There isn't white privilege in America. There's black privilege. There's a lot of it. They get a pass. You do not. You say Jews are kikes, you won't get a pass. And I do believe him that he did not know what the word meant. He's a young guy. He's ignorant. And his apology, like I said, sounded very heartfelt to me, not like a publicist wrote it. Maybe a publicist looked at it and massaged it, but it sounded sincere. And on top of that, here's the other reason he's being discriminated against. He's a patriot. His brother served 2 tours in Afghanistan in the U.S. Marines. He's very pro-military. He's got a lot of friends in the U.S. Marines. He is a guy that supports America. And horror of horrors, he stands for the flag and doesn't kneel. And we have a picture to show you. There he is. Now, he is wearing the Black Lives Matter t-shirt. Maybe he needs to have a Jewish Lives Matter t-shirt. I don't know. But so he is down with the struggle of this social justice warrior baloney. Or, more likely, I think he got cowed into wearing that. And if he said he wouldn't wear it, he'd be called a racist and get in trouble. Because only LeBron James is allowed to not wear that stuff. Remember, LeBron James did not have to wear those slogan t-shirts and jerseys. He was cowed into it. So I think that's the reason. I think this is discrimination. I am willing to forgive Myers Leonard because I thought his apology was heartfelt. I really think he's ignorant, and he will learn. And I also think that in America, you can't just cancel everybody for one thing they said. If they are truly sorry, that's it. Let's move on. We shouldn't have vendettas. But if you double down like Deshaun Jackson did, if you're not really sorry, if nothing happens to you over it, I don't forgive you. And if you're a follower of Louis Farrakhan, an avowed hater of Jews, who I've gone and seen undercover at mosques when he's spoken, he calls for jihads against Jews and Christians. He says that Jews are the devil and synagogues of Satan. That's not the kind of person I'm willing to forgive. That's a belief system. It's not, I made a mistake. But he got nothing. Nothing happened to him. He didn't even get a slap on the hand. Myers Leonard he may be kicked out of the NBA over this. And it's unfair. So I am on his side. I accept his apology. And I think this is outrageous. Now, also outrageous, and this is another example of the so-called white privilege in America that's really black privilege, is Amanda Gorman. We have talked to you about this woman. She is an, at best, average left-wing political ranter parading as a poet. She was named the National Youth Poet Laureate. She's in her 20s. She's not a youth. She was picked because she's a social justice warrior. She got a modeling contract with IMG. She was at the inauguration delivering this faux poem that was a left-wing rant. She did the same at the Super Bowl. Well, she has a book coming out. She's had several of them. And her latest book is being translated into many different languages so we can poison the rest of the world with her garbage. And guess what? The translators of her book have been fired. One of them was forced to resign, which means fired, and the other one was fired. Now, what were they fired for? Well, one of them is a translator from Catalan. All right, so to Catalan. Now, the Catalan language is spoken in several European countries, but it's mostly from Catalonia in, I believe, northeast or northwest Spain. And you're going to find a black woman translator for Catalonia? No, you're not. But apparently the guy who was picked, it's a white male, European white male. The crime of that. He was fired because he does not fit the right profile. She and her publishers want black women only. And you know what? He's not the first, he's the second one. They had a Dutch translator, and the Dutch translator was a Dutch woman. She resigned because wrong skin tone. Yeah, that's your example of white privilege. This is Amanda Gorman, our National Youth Poet Laureate, telling us, if you're not of a dark complexion, forget about it. You cannot be hired by me. This is absurd, all right? When we come back, we will have some more instances of absurdity, and one of them is in North Dakota. By the way, one other thing, Amanda Gorman is the Veruca Salt of our time. The black Veruca Salt of our time. In case you forgot who Veruca Salt is, take a look. We've got a picture. Yeah, the girl from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Daddy, Daddy, I want a golden ticket and I want it now. Daddy, 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 I want a black Catalan translator and I want it now. I want a black female Dutch translator, and I want her now, daddy, daddy. That's what's going on here. We will have more after these messages.
Howdy, folks. It's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast and homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your number one choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we've been talking about political correctness and how it's basically killing all form of reason. And also if you're the wrong skin color, which here's a hint, is not minority because minorities are the favored skin color now. If you are a white person, good luck with that. You can't be a translator for the Black Veruca Salt of our time, Amanda Gorman. And you get special treatment when you use anti-Semitic slurs and statements versus white people who do it. And there's a lot more. And it's killing us. Now, I want to tell you what's going on at North Dakota State University because I find this really reprehensible. All right, a book with a swastika on the cover. It's on the New York Times bestseller list. It's called Fatherland. It's a novel by Robert Harris. Was found at North Dakota State University next to a Bible on Tuesday. All right, so apparently, and it was left outside the inside the lending library, outside the Memorial Union. So apparently you cannot have a book with a swastika on the cover. This is a fiction book about the Nazis having won World War II. And it's an alternate history. And the police are investigating the murder of a Nazi official. Now, this is fiction, number one. Number two, there has been a TV show, I believe on Amazon Prime. One of my good friends from high school starred in it. He played the character Lemuel. It's called The Man in the High Castle, and that is also about the Nazis having won World War II. It was a big hit show on Amazon Prime. And my friend Rick Worthy went to high school with me. We're good friends. He played, I believe the character's name was Lemuel Johnson. It was Lemuel. He plays the leader of the Black Resistance. Now, should his show have been outlawed because there are swastikas in the posters for it? You can't leave a swastika book outside anywhere in North Dakota State University. What the hell is going on? Aren't universities, or weren't they, supposed to be forums and bastions for the free exchange of ideas? Listen, I am offended by swastikas. I'm offended by Nazis, but so what? Every perceived paper cut that I have does not mean that all books should be banned from everywhere. If you're offended by something, keep it to yourself. Or get a TV show and rant about it like I am. But don't ban books and start investigations. But that's exactly what North Dakota State University is doing. Listen to this. The North Dakota State University Equity Office is investigating because of this book being found. They want to know if the book was left to threaten or intimidate people. And if it is, the university stands against that. Now, the book, again, is Fatherland by Robert Harris. I wish we would have gotten a picture of the cover of the book. I didn't get it for you. I didn't ask the producers to get it, but Google it. You'll see what the cover looks like. There's nothing wrong with it. As I've said on this show many times, my grandparents, my late maternal grandparents, were Holocaust survivors. They survived the Nazi death camps. My grandfather was liberated from Bergen-Belsen camp, the camp where Anne Frank died, where she was murdered by the Nazis. Most of both sides of my family were wiped out by the Nazis. My mother was born in Bergen-Belsen camp after the war. So if anybody should be offended by this book, it should be me. But I don't care about this book. Don't get offended by everything. If you're that weak, you should stay home forever, never come out of any of the lockdowns, and just whine and rant all day and be fragile. I'm not so fragile. Sorry. Kids at universities should be open to seeing other ideas, even though they don't agree with them. You know what? Nazis deserve to have the right to march and say whatever their ideas are. I'm not opposed to it. I believe in the free exchange of ideas. You know why? Because I believe in the power of the good. And I believe that smart people will believe in the right things. If you don't believe in that, and you believe you need to regulate what kinds of books are left on a table inside a lending library, outside a public library at a university, then the next thing you're going to do is regulate what I have to say and what I can do. And we've seen that. I've seen it. I've experienced it years before most other people on social media. I was kicked off of Twitter once. I've been put in Facebook jail and Twitter jail. So I am telling you, the more this happens, it's not just going to be people who are offended by swastikas or by a book whose premise they don't like. It's going to be you and me for saying average things, for saying nothing. I've already had that happen. We have to stop this. Enough is enough. So North Dakota State University, stop wasting time and money and give up and just say that you admit that a university should be about the free exchange of many ideas, including those you don't agree with, that you find offensive, and you do not have a right to investigate them. This is absurd. Move on. All right, so that's North Dakota State University. Now, I want to tell you what's going on at the public schools of Bismarck. This is more political correctness that just needs to stop. So, the Bismarck Public Schools now has an Indian education program, and they have hired their first director of Indian student education. I find this ridiculous. And I think that's her picture. Sashay Shetler, I think is her name. Regardless of her name, it does not matter. Why are we having this? All right. Native American tribes are sovereign nations. That means they're separate countries. They have their own license plates, their own government. their own taxation, their own police force, their own judges, their own tribal courts. They are separate. So if they're separate, they should be separate. Why are we having schools dividing people and having special directors of education for certain students of certain ethnicities? Do we have a Canadian education director? I mean, Canada is a separate country too. Why are we doing this? This is to divide students instead of uniting them. It is going to separate them. You don't give students a separate person just for them, separate resources just for them. It's not fair to everybody else. It's time to heal and move forward. This does not do that at all. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about more political correctness because you won't believe the things a Manhattan public school has told parents they and the students are no longer allowed to say. And also, a Fargo man was told that he's not allowed to do something that is against the law to say that. He is allowed to do this thing. We'll tell you what it is after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Kohler Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we've been talking about political correctness and how it is killing America. And I believe it's also killing, in some cases, North Dakota. We talked about one example before the break with North Dakota State University launching an investigation because a fiction novel that spent 3 months on the New York Times bestseller list, Fatherland, was found in a lending library. Oh my God, the world is over. Wake up, people. There are more important things in life. And you know what? The fact that they are doing this shows what a spoiled country we live in. And I didn't think that North Dakota was as spoiled, but, at least on the campus of North Dakota State University, they are as spoiled because money being spent to investigate who left a book and why, because God forbid somebody might read a fiction book. Come on. Come on. There are many fiction books with Nazi themes in them. Doesn't mean the person supports the Nazis or wants them to take over. And what if they did? I oppose that. The Nazis wanted me and my family dead. But I believe in the free exchange of ideas. Political correctness does not. And speaking of that, I want to tell you about this school in the North Houston neighborhood of New York, this fancy, swanky school. It's called the Grace Church School. It costs $57,000 a year in tuition. So out of reach of anybody but the top 1%. And they have sent a 12-page inclusive language guide to parents and students telling them what they can and cannot say. And this is just really ridiculous. So first of all, not only are you not allowed to say Merry Christmas, you can't even wish somebody happy holidays because I guess what if they're atheists? They might get offended by this. Also, you cannot use the words mom or dad or parent. We talked about how the University of Michigan had this inclusive language recommendation from some committee on inclusive language where they said you can't say mom or dad. This is ridiculous. Wake up, America. This is killing us. I know I keep saying that in this show, but I can't say it enough. All right, so that is not the only things that they can't say. By the way, they can't even say parents. Parents is offensive. So I guess maybe they could say like sperm donor, womb donor, egg donor. Maybe that's appropriate. I want to read you some more things there. Here's what they're allowed to say. This is from the guide. It says, instead of mom and dad at Grace, we say grown-ups, folks, or family. Instead of parents, we say grown-ups, folks, family, and guardians. Instead of nanny or babysitter, what's wrong with that? We say caregiver or guardian. Instead of is adopted, we say was adopted. Huh? Are you serious? The tense of the verb is now offensive to people? Wake up, people. Oh my God. You can't say husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend. You have to say spouse, partner, or significant other. You can't say, instead, it's what religion are you? Instead, at Grace, we say, are any religious faith traditions important to you? Instead of, what did you get for any holiday? What are you going to be for Halloween? You have to say, do you celebrate holidays? Because if you don't, you might get offended. We are raising not a generation of snowflakes, because snowflakes have a lifespan. They have some toughness at the beginning when they freeze into crystals. We are raising a nation of just water. Water. It's going to evaporate. It's that fragile. Instead of saying Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, you have to say, have a great break. Now, Grace Church School said that the inclusion glossary for 2021 will remove harmful assumptions from the way we interact with each other and is part of our Episcopal identity. Oh my goodness. Has the Episcopal Church really sunk this low? Yes, they have apparently. Especially when the people are paying $57,000 to bend over because here it comes again. Welcome to the Grace School. $57,000 to teach your kid how not to speak as a normal, reasonable person. Now, speaking of normal, reasonable people, so there's Andrew Elmer. Andrew Elmer is a Fargo resident. He's a patriot. He has the American flag flying outside his residence. But guess what? The development where his residence is in Fargo said they object and they want him to take his American flag down. Why? Because they said it makes too much noise. Are you serious? The American flag, people died for that flag. People gave their limbs, their minds, the best parts of them for that flag if they didn't die. People risked their lives for that flag if they didn't give their lives and their minds for it and their limbs. And you can't stand the flags flapping in the wind? It's too noisy for you? Really? Really? Maybe you should leave and go to Canada, because I don't think there are a lot of people complaining about the flapping of the Canadian flag. They got a lot of other flags flapping there. Are you serious? Now, I told you this was against the law, and it is. I want to read you the name of the law so that if you are ever told you can't fly your flag, this is the law. The Federal Freedom to Display the American Flag Act of 2005 says no homeowner association can restrict owners from displaying the American flag on their property. And Mr. Elmer, Andrew Elmer, if you're watching, we'd love to have you on the show. As he said, the flag is not anything offensive, it's not rude, it's not nasty, it's the American flag. I have a lot of friends, family that serve in the military, and this is the symbol of our nation. It should be flown whatever, whenever and wherever it can be. Amen to that, and his Fargo Condo Association should be ashamed of themselves. Just ashamed. This is outrageous. And remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.